For the first 16 years of my life, I was homeless. My name is Sebastian Robeck. I am 21 years old, and I'm the co-founder of Agency Hypergrowth, and this is my story.
I pull up, you know I be moving, whipping the foreign, I'm cruising.
So take us back to the very beginning, man. Like, we've seen the news articles. Take us in that time machine real quick.
So I'm trying to give you a solid timeline. I mean, realistically, for the first 16 years of my life, I was homeless up until like about my, I'd say, third year of high school, second, third year of high school. Probably what you might imagine. I was just a young kid for most of the time that I was homeless, bouncing around from different homeless shelters and sleeping in friends' houses, and it was pretty nuts, man. Honestly, being homeless and going through the absolute really just craziness that really no child should go through, and most don't. It was actually the greatest thing that could ever happen to me, because my greatest tragedies and my greatest sort of traumas as a kid served and acted as my greatest source of motivation. Those things created the most powerful why that anybody could ever have.
Let's take it back to high school time. What did that whole thing look like for you? And then when it came to entrepreneurship, like, how did that get started?
And throughout high school, I was kind of your normal student, if you will. I was like on the path, really what they tell you should be doing. I was getting the good grades. I was acing all the tests, kind of doing the normal thing. And I actually ended up getting a full scholarship to a private university in Washington, D.C. And I did something kind of crazy that most people would call nuts. And at the time when I did it, I definitely got called a lot worse than that by plenty of people, friends, family, you can probably imagine. And I went there for about 5 days, 6 days, maybe less than a week. And I just sat there like I'm sitting right now, and I just kind of thought, and I had that aha moment. And I realized it wasn't for me. Something inside of me just told me I was destined for something greater. After leaving school, life was, it sucked, basically. I was bouncing around from job to job. It was one of the worst periods of my life. I had friends, family, people all over the place just telling me, you're going to be a bum, you're going to just live on the street. Like, how are you going to make money? How are you going to support yourself? How are you going to raise a family at some point? Like, all these different things. And to say that I felt pressure was definitely putting it lightly.
What was the decision-making process from dropping out of college? What was next?
It sounds kind of cliche, but I tried everything, literally everything under the sun. At the time, I thought I wanted to pursue a career in acting and film and television at the time. I actually worked as a background actor, meaning, you work if you ever watch a movie or a TV show and you see the people in the way in the background, like the people walk on the street, or people that are sitting in a restaurant, moving their mouth and they're not actually saying anything, like those extras, that was me. But at the time, I was 18 years old and I needed the money. I needed to put some cash in my pocket. So I didn't exactly have a choice with no education. After that, I kind of got sick of it after about 4 months, and I started just bouncing from job to job. And then I came across something that started to change the course of my life a little bit, and it was a sales job. It was my first real job. So up until this point, man, I never really had like a legit 40-hour a week job. And
so you're working at the sales job. What happened next?
I caught the entrepreneur bug, as I call it. And if you have it, you know exactly what it feels like. It's kind of this deep calling inside of you. You can't quite explain it. It's kind of hard, almost impossible really, to put into words and like materialize it, but you just know it's there. About 6-7 months in, even maybe more, about 5 or 6 months into my sales job, I started looking into things. I tried everything, as I said a second ago. I tried drop shipping. I tried building Shopify stores and doing e-commerce. I tried affiliate marketing. I tried building out niche websites. You guys name it. I have tried literally every business model out there. And then it's funny, I came across an ad from somebody a lot of you guys know, it was Ty Lopez at the time, basically not explaining, but really sort of posing the idea of offering digital marketing services to small local businesses in your area. And honestly, man, as soon as I heard that, boom, I was instantly hooked. It was game over. As soon as I heard about that thing, I don't know what it was, it just clicked for me. The business model made sense. I envisioned myself being able to do it. I already love talking to people. I know how to sell. I just need to translate that skill set over to business owners in the B2B side of selling. I was like a rabid dog, honestly. Even while I was still working at the sales job at the time, this was back in 2017, I started cold calling business owners, straight up, just like hammering the phones, like kind of like Wolf of Wall Street style. But I actually ended up quitting my my sales job about 3 months after I started the agency. So end of 2017 was when I quit the sales job.
How exactly did you make that transition from the full-time gig, having something stable, to essentially jumping off and doing your own thing?
As I touched on it a little bit, I dove headfirst into this whole agency model thing. I kind of have this notion, and a lot of people, not a lot, but some people live by it, which is fail forward and fail fast. Because the faster that you can fail, the faster you can learn, and then subsequently the faster you can adapt and make changes that you need to make to your process so that you can start improving and actually getting the results you're looking for. I just allowed myself to fail. I threw myself into these situations of getting on sales calls, going to in-person meetings. I tried going to networking events. I was cold calling easily 50 to 100, sometimes even 150 plus business owners a day. Over time, I really started obsessing almost maniacally, as most people at the top of their game in any field do at some point, over how I can master this game of B2B sales, but not just B2B sales, that's part of it, but the overarching thing is communication. I made it my mission to become the absolute best I possibly could at not just sales and communication, but also understanding the digital marketing side of things, because a lot of times where people trip up in this business is they learn the sales side, but they don't actually learn the marketing side, because the marketing side is just as important. You got to know how to actually fulfill on services for clients.
What do you think were some of the main challenges at the time when you were trying to grow the agency?
By and large, the biggest challenge, without a doubt, was getting clients, but it wasn't just getting clients. I had to figure out how I can compel business owners to buy into me and buy into my vision, and that was really the biggest challenge, man. That was like the elephant in the room. Over time, I learned how to do it and position myself in a way where I didn't need those things, but it was massively, massively difficult. I mean, it was one of the hardest things I ever had to do, because remember, this isn't B2C, this is B2B, where business owners can sniff out BS in a second, in half a second. So I had to figure out how to get around that. Number two, the other challenge was honestly, man, I was constantly facing, as most people that are in this business do, I was facing a nonstop feast or famine cycle. I'd have some appointments one week, next week I'd have no appointments. One week I'd have a calendar full of people lined up, ready to go. The next week I'd have nothing. To say it was stressful was to say the least. Now, of course, the third challenge was actually, fulfilling my client services. So as I talked about before, you can't just be good at sales in anything. You have to actually also know how to do the work, right? So if you're a plumber and you're great at selling your plumbing services, but you can't actually fix a broken toilet or a clogged up toilet, you're kind of screwed, because you can go and sell, but you're gonna have a bunch of unhappy customers. Super quick story, I got 3 clients really unexpectedly in about first 3 to 4 weeks of me doing this. It was super weird. It was a shell shock. I had not expected this by any means. It was 3 clients that had gotten, again, off of cold calls at the time, and I was charging I think $300 a month. It was silly, to be honest, at the time. But I was just getting started. Again, I was young, and I was trying my hand at this game, and it was seemingly working. Problem was, I didn't know anything about advertising, or I didn't know enough, and I didn't know as much as I didn't realize that I needed to know a lot more than what I did know from the studying I was doing. And so I tried to fulfill these clients and run the campaigns, run the ads, set up all the funnels, all that stuff, and of course it completely tanked. All the campaigns tanked. So I got those clients in about a month in, and about a month and a half later, I lost all those clients. So that was one of the worst parts, and the lowest parts of my agency journey was losing those initial clients I had, because in my mind, I thought those clients were gonna turn into referrals, and I was at the top of my game, and I was set. Nope, not how it works.
You started to grow the agency. You had some other agency owners actually reach back out to you, kind of wondering, what's the secret? What are you doing differently?
After spending about a year and a half just going like an absolute madman on my own at this agency game, learning completely the ins and outs of everything about communication, sales, this whole thing, I realized again that there were so many holes in the way this business model was being taught. And there were so many things that, right, I wish somebody was just there to give me these nudges and give me these little pieces of insights that could save me months, literally months and months and months of heartache and hassle and unnecessary mistakes. A lot of people were teaching things that were lacking one thing, one word, and that one thing was leverage. Okay, everybody in the marketplace, including Ty Lopez, who I got started on, was teaching this more or less the same thing. All these different strategies and tactics that required an absolutely obscene amount of your time and your day-to-day effort. So, for example, cold calling. I didn't know this at the time for the months and months I was cold calling, but it was an absolutely horrible way for me to spend my time because I am completely restricted, I should say, by the amount of calls I can make in not even 24 hour, like a 6 to 8 hour period. At the time, this is about mid 2018 of last year, I was pretty active in like Facebook groups and on YouTube, and I was doing this stuff, man, in terms of documenting my journey and offering free value to people with literally, I kid you not, this might sound cliche, but I'm being honest here, guys. I have no reason to lie. I never had any intention of ever doing any sort of like consulting, coaching, anything course related. I was super anti-course. Like people would ask me all the time, like, hey, do you like Ty Lopez? Do you like these guys that sell courses? And I'd be like, I'm really not a fan. I didn't like it. I felt like the people who sold coaching and consulting were the guys or the gals that wanted an easy way out. I knew the struggle so well, honestly, better than, I don't know if anybody out there knows the struggles of agency owners, quite frankly, better than I do. I don't say that egotistically. I just say that because of everything I tried and all the stuff I went through trying to grow my agency from the ground up as a startup company. I looked at it as a massive opportunity, not as a way out, not as an easy way out in any means. I looked at it as a massive opportunity to help people that were in the same shoes I was in. Because again, guys, nobody knows the problems of agencies better than I do. I know it like the back of my hand. Literally, I can tell you, as you guys have seen me throughout this interview, I've told you all the problems you're facing because I know it like that. I can recall it in a heartbeat. That's how Agency Hypergrowth was born.
Started Agency Hypergrowth, grown it a little bit. Maybe if you can condense the past year of your journey.
Essentially, over the last year, my business partner Brian and I, we have built Agency Hypergrowth from the ground up, from being just a kind of mediocre program from agencies that got decent results. People were coming in and they were filling up their pipeline. They were signing some clients. It was okay, but it had a lot of holes. I was still learning how to coach. I wasn't a certified coach. I didn't really know. I was just trying to download everything from here into other people. That's a bit of a challenge. So over time, again, my business partner Brian and I, we just got better at it. With the same way we learned the agency game and how to get better at that, we learned how to become better as coaches, as mentors to other people. And so, man, it's been a wild ride. And I think the best part of it has been, by and large, like above all else, just seeing the results, man. Seeing the results of people coming into this program who were in the same exact shoes I was in, like literally carbon copies of me, cold calling, going to events, going door to door, doing all these things that don't leverage your time, posting in groups, right? All the things that everybody tells you to do. They really don't work that well. They work for a little bit, but then you get burned out because you can't leverage your time, right? And most of the people were in my shoes just like that. We help them just, first of all, take their mindset, change it, and turn it up on its head so that they become weapons, right? They go from being completely unsure of themselves and just having no idea how to even conduct themselves in the B2B marketplace to absolute just like beasts in this world, this cutthroat world of B2B and business in general. And then being able to help them implement everything I've learned and all the strategies and the tactics that we've really refined over the last year to now, where it's like anybody can come in and work with us, and we just absolutely change the game for them. And I'm not trying to be too salesy here, man. It's really not my intention, but literally, there's no other program on the marketplace right now for either new or existing ad agencies, whether you're a beginner or especially if you have a couple clients. I mean, that's ideal, if I'm being honest. Like, people come in, they're stuck at 1, 2, 3, 4 clients, a few $1,000s a month maybe, and we help them just smash through these plateaus. So honestly, man, it's been the results that have kept me going. I mean, we have people that scale their agency from 0 to, now $40,000, $50,000 a month. People are going from 0 to 10 to 20 to 30, signing clients like in a week and a half of working with us. It's really insane, man. And like, I love helping businesses. Like, it's why I got into this agency world in the first place, and I'm still in it, obviously. And it's cool and all. It's really cool to be able to help change the business owners' lives so they can change their families' lives. But honestly, man, like having somebody come into this program who is like trying to pay for their kids' tuition, or trying to pay for a sick relative, or just provide their wife with a better lifestyle, and then have them be able to actually do that in like 4 or 8 or 12 weeks, like, it's really hard to top that feeling. It's really, really hard to top that. And that's why I continue to do what I do. And that's what the last year has been like, especially the last 4 to 6 months. It's just blown up, man. The results coming out of what we're doing is it's nowhere, it doesn't exist on the market. It's unparalleled by far. So it's been crazy, man, but it's a beautiful thing to see. And I'm just super grateful that we get the opportunity to help people, because I know damn sure that I wish I had it when I started.
Now, what are some of the main differentiators between agency hypergrowth and these other programs?
I don't want to use this as an opportunity to bash anybody else. Seriously, I'm not like that. I'm not about that. Obviously, the strategies and the trainings that we have inside of our program are amazing. I mean, it's stuff that is on the cutting edge, and the reason why is because Brian and I are constantly upgrading our own agency. We're growing our own agency while at the same time still continuing to consult other agencies and coach them on how to do the same thing. We know what's working now in 2019 and what's going to work in 2020 and the next 5 to 10 years going, well, I don't know if we can see that far ahead, but we know what's working right now, and we're going to continue to stay on the cutting edge. But if I'm being honest with you, man, like, that stuff is a huge part of the program, and it's awesome. But I think what really sets us apart is our support system. Most people, they buy a bunch of courses, they spend anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. I've seen people that spend $10,000, $20,000 on courses and trainings, and they never really get the support they need. They might talk to somebody once or twice, maybe even once a week for a couple weeks, but they never really get that like super hands-on approach, like the human support that people really need, that I wish I had. And that's really what I think sets us apart here at Agency Hypergrowth. It's just the sheer amount of support and the level, the quality of support. I mean, we have things like, for example, we do 4 group calls a week. We have a mindset call on Monday. We have 2 group calls on Tuesday, Thursday, and then we have another group call on Saturday, which is called the Sales Clinic, where we basically just dive super, super in-depth into our agency partners' sales process and how to turn them into weapons on the phone really quickly. We also have a head coach inside our program who his only responsibility is literally to provide world-class support, who ironically was actually a client of ours inside of Agency Hypergrowth. He scaled his agency to well over 20 grand a month and then started helping us coach our agency partners. On top of it, people get access directly to Brian and myself. You get to talk to us. We're not the people who's like, hey, you should give us some money. You should pay us some fees or whatever, or money for consulting, and never talk to us again. Nope, not at all, man, because I know that was the last thing I wanted when I was embarking on this journey early on. And it happened to me plenty of times, and it does with most people. So we are striving to do completely the opposite of what most people have right now in the marketplace. And again, man, I know a little bit of a long answer, but I really believe and I feel in my heart that it's the support. It's the support that we provide, the guidance, the 24-hour or 24/7 access to somebody on our team, whether it's me, Brian, our head coach. Somebody's always there to help. Of course, we have a Facebook group. And I think that's what it is. It's being there for people. It's not just, hey, here's some videos, see ya, and you're off to the races. Because that does nothing for anybody. So we're there for everybody, and I think that's what really sets us apart.
We went over a lot in today's interview. Where can people find out more about you guys?
there's this really cool video training that we put together. It's about 15 minutes long. It's nothing crazy. It's not your typical hour-long webinar. There's nothing to buy on this video. We basically just put this thing together to help ad agencies. Again, it's completely free. It's going to give you the clarity you need on the exact frameworks you're going to want to start implementing inside of your agency today, so that you can actually start growing and do it without, again, doing all the strategies and tactics that aren't leveraging your time as best as possible and are constantly pigeonholing yourself into the day-to-day work. So that way you can, you obviously want to start moving away from that. So we'll leave a link somewhere like above this video, below, somewhere like around this video. You guys will be able to click. It'll take you to another page. You just throw your name and email in there, and then you'll be able to watch the training right away. Again, it's not your typical webinar. There's nothing to buy there. It's literally just clarity that you'll need, so you'll know what it really takes to grow your agency now in 2019. So again, guys, I really hope this resonated with some of you. I hope this inspires you, and I really, really look forward to seeing you guys on the other side on the training. So with that said, I'll see you guys soon. Peace.